Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mind2Mind. I'm Tiffani Neilson, and with me is my incredible co host, the one and only Dr. Joe Perez. How are you doing today, Dr. Joe?
Hi, Tiffany. I'm doing great. My one and only Tiffany Neilson co-host. I'm all right. Hope you are too, ma'am.
I'm doing fantastic. And Dr. Joe, you're always such a very busy man. Please give us an update on what you've been up to.
Sure thing, Tiffany. The short tech tips video that I've been creating over the past few months for the Insight Jam channel on YouTube have really taken off in popularity. Unbelievable. In fact, 7 of the 17 or so that I've done are in the top 10 of the most watched user created shorts across the entire channel. 4 of those are in the top four, believe it or not. It just totally blows me away. This channel has more than 350,000 subscribers. So I am really stoked about that. Okay, I've also got two back-to-back speaking engagements at the end of next month. One at the ATC Carolina Regional Conference near Charlotte, here in North Carolina, and the other one being the closing keynote at the Global CISO Forum in Atlanta the very next day. So I'm going to be pretty busy. But still, I am extremely grateful for all of these amazing opportunities. But how about you, Tiffany? What's going on with you?
Well, one thing's for sure, I'm so happy that it is a little bit cooler outside. Living in Las Vegas, 118-degree days were really getting the best of me. So nice. 82 for a high yesterday. Wow. So
Hmm.
I'm very excited about that. On the work front, we have our big Summit of Things event coming up in October, and we are so excited about that. We have about 30 speakers so far and growing. There's a ton of different information we'll be sharing all about digital transformation, IoT, AI, and other emerging technologies, how they apply to many industries, and how executives can navigate this challenging quest to, I'll say, results driven, effective digital transformation. And so please register to attend, and you can do so at iotmktg.com. We also have our big award show, the Industry Insights IoT Awards, which Dr. Joe has won in the past, Thought Leader of the Year. So be sure to register to attend that in December, and we will also have voting openings soon. So be sure to take advantage of that. And then there's Mobile World Congress coming to Las Vegas at the beginning of October. So we'll have a busy week that week with lots of meetings and sessions and exploring the expo hall. Looking forward to that. And we just got back from Ohio. So we went to go see Xander's grandparents, my parents. And it was a beautiful trip, and everything went amazing. We were celebrating my dad's birthday. So happy birthday, Dad, if you're watching. And back to today's topic, which is the madness behind the method. And we're diving deep into the world of professional development with Dr. Joe. And he's not only a seasoned expert in the field of data, but also the author of the groundbreaking book, Madness Behind the Method, which scored a #1 release ranking on Amazon in the adult education category. And this book challenges organizations to rethink their approach to employee training and development. And today we'll explore some of the revolutionary strategies Dr. Joe outlines in his book to create a more engaging and effective learning environment for your workforce. So get ready to discover the madness behind a truly transformative approach to professional development. And Dr. Joe, given the current state of the workforce, why is it so crucial for organizations to reevaluate their professional development strategies?
Great question, Tiffany. So it's extremely important. And by the way, thank you so much for your kind words about my book. I enjoyed writing it. So I see reevaluating professional development strategies as, well, an imperative for several reasons. First of all, the pandemic from the early 2020s drastically altered the work landscape. We all know that. We all experienced that. I think remote work and flexible schedules would be the main emphases here. And, this shift necessitated organizations to adapt their training programs to meet the demands of a hybrid workforce, something they'd never done before. Secondly, the great resignation, as they call it, has certainly underscored the importance of employee engagement and satisfaction. Investing in professional development demonstrates a commitment to employee growth, encouraging a positive company culture, and reducing the chance of turnover. Thirdly, technological advances. That's rapidly changing the skills that are required for success. And without continuous learning and development, employees are going to risk becoming obsolete. And by prioritizing professional development, well, I see organizations ensuring that their workforce remains competitive and agile. And see, here's the thing, Tiffani. A well structured professional development strategy can enhance employee performance and productivity too. When employees feel like they are valued and supported in their growth, well, they are, let's say, more likely to take on new challenges, to embrace new challenges, and overall contribute to the organization's success. On top of that, a culture of continuous learning is going to build this sense of community and belonging. And that's going to lead to increased employee satisfaction and reduce burnout. So, reevaluating your professional development strategies, oh, yeah, it's absolutely essentials for organizations to navigate the complexities of the modern workplace, Tiffani. And of course, I'm sure there will be some practical challenges to implementing these changes. And I suppose whenever you try to change things, well, there's bound to be resistance. So, given that resistance that organizations often face, what advice do you have, Tiffani, for leaders who might be looking to overcome obstacles and to drive change within their teams?
Thanks, Dr. Joe. Well, my advice would be make it fun. I mean,
Yeah.
explore ways to make professional development a fun and memorable experience because in many cases, group learning or team exercises can make the experience more enjoyable, which will also lead to better attainment of the information shared. And another great way to overcome obstacles and drive change is incentives. Try using incentives to make the opportunity for
Yes.
professional development more enticing and benefits for those who do the best or complete classes. And gamification is another concept that comes to mind that would bring together both fun and incentives into the professional development process. And Dr. Joe, in the madness behind the method, you challenge organizations to rethink their professional development strategy. And your book talks about this framework you developed called the MAD structural matrix. Dr. Joe, can you tell us how this framework can be applied to design more effective training programs? And what are the key benefits of this approach?
Sure, absolutely. Well, the MAD structural matrix within the madness behind the method, no shameless plug here. I just happen to have the book on me, right? Yeah, the MAD structural matrix. This thing represents what I hope is an innovative framework for designing effective training programs. Um, Unlike traditional approaches that frequently miss the mark, in my opinion, this particular framework delivers a comprehensive structure for aligning your training with six key elements. They are the emphasis, the focus, the goal, if I can remember them all, you see the approach, the summary, and the relationship, those six. Okay, by thoughtfully addressing each of those six components, Tiffani, you can design a learning experience that truly connects with your team and produces tangible outcomes. All right, when a training program uses this framework as its roadmap, I can see where every detail of that program is carefully orchestrated to ensure optimal impact and engagement too. The MAD structural matrix can help guide an organization towards realizing this vision that I have, and others have had it too. I see it as a robust tool that's going to enable you to sidestep the common tracks of generic training and customizing your strategy to meet the unique needs of your own team. Let me give you a few specifics, Tiffani, on how those 6 key elements could potentially be implemented. All right, you can accomplish things like making sure your training aligns with your organization's goals, focusing on the most important aspects of learning and development, setting clear and achievable goals for your training programs, choosing the most effective approach for delivering your content, summarizing key takeaways to reinforce what the people have learned, and encouraging a strong relationship between trainers and learners. You see, with the MAD structural matrix as one possible framework, there are others. But anyway, an organization can develop training programs that are not only effective, but also captivating and, well, maybe even unforgettable. My take? Well, I say let's move away from ineffective training methods and embrace the madness, if you will, that could revolutionize your organization's approach to development and professional growth. Now, of course, I'm sure there are other solutions, naturally. This one is one possible solution that I've come up with. Now, speaking of which, Tiffani, being such a remarkable, phenomenal marketing leader as you are, you have undoubtedly faced challenges in training and developing your teams. Can you share a specific instance where the MAD structural matrix, or maybe some other framework that you might have used, or you might have envisioned, could have been beneficial, and maybe what potential outcomes, positive outcomes, that you've envisioned from using some kind of framework, whether it's mine or not?
Well, thank you, Dr. Joe. And I'm going to take a slightly different approach to answering this because years ago,
Okay.
I was working for a company called You Will Change the World, where the CEO, Peter Anthony Wynn, would host mastermind workshops and assist authors and those with valuable messages to share to create online courses. And many of the MAD structural matrix strategies were used to assist attendees of the mastermind workshops in creating their online courses. And focusing on the most important aspects of learning and development was a major part of the workshop, both in the way the workshop was structured and the way that attendees would approach creating their online courses. And setting clear and achievable goals for training programs was something Peter Anthony consistently emphasized the importance of. And choosing the most effective approach for delivering the content was another key element he focused on for laying out the framework for the online courses. And summarizing key takeaways and using quizzes were great means to ensure that the audience were comprehending the information. And furthermore, the quizzes were written in a way to reinforce the information rather than to confuse people or trick them. For example, the majority of the true and false questions were written to be true. It would just reinforce the learning. So encouraging a strong relationship between trainers and learners was at the core of the mastermind workshops. And as the workshops fostered this positive and productive environment by working with a mentor, which was another big part of the program that he would underscore. And so, Dr. Joe, you've been emphasizing the importance of blending teaching, coaching, and mentoring for effective professional development. So how do you balance these 3 approaches in your own training programs? And what are the key benefits of this blended approach?
Right. Well, I just love your question, Tiffani. Implementing a blended approach, as you say, of teaching, coaching, and mentoring. Now, that is a key to building a solid professional development plan. Each approach offers unique advantages. And when integrated thoughtfully, well, collectively, they can unlock the full potential of your team. Okay, starting with teaching. This lays the groundwork by sharing vital knowledge and skills. It's kind of like the base of a house, the foundation, a building, right? Without it, everything else might simply fall apart. Then there's coaching. Now, that takes it a step farther by encouraging personal growth and development. You know, I suppose that you could compare it to having a personal trainer, right? Who helps employees to reach their goals and discover their strengths. Coaches motivate and inspire, enabling individuals to recognize their own capabilities. Finally, there's mentoring. Now, it offers a broader perspective, okay, providing continuous support and guidance. It's like, well, maybe like having a wise old owl, a mentor, right, who shares their experiences to help employees find their way in their careers and become, and this is important, become the best version of themselves that they can possibly be. See, the mentor will be your staunchest advocate, your greatest cheerleader, and your harshest critic, somehow all at the same time. The mentors, they're the only ones who can tell you, do or do not. There is no try, right? Yeah, where have you heard that one before, folks? So by thoughtfully combining these three methodologies, teaching, coaching, and mentoring, you can craft a professional development strategy that meets the unique needs of your employees, promotes a culture of growth and creativity, and ultimately it's going to lead to success for your organization. And who knows? You might even be able to channel your own inner Yoda in the process. So, all right, let me paint you a picture of what such a training program might look like, Tiffani. Let's say it kicks off with solid teaching, giving participants the essential skills that they need, right? After that, let's say coaching comes into play to offer tailored support. And finally, mentors can step in to provide ongoing guidance, helping employees to grow again throughout the career. Of course, it can happen in other combinations and other order. It does not have to be in that order. But the point is, the blended approach, whatever flavor it might take or whatever order that you might implement it, this will ensure your training program is comprehensive, engaging, and effective. It addresses the diverse needs of your employees and provides them with the tools they need to succeed. When you invest in a well rounded professional development strategy, you can both create and nurture a dynamic workplace culture and, well, enhance organizational success overall. So, yeah, even after investing in the type of well rounded professional development strategy that I've described, I believe organizations often face resistance in spite of it. Now, Tiffani, what strategies do you believe can overcome this resistance and create the right type of environment? Do you think these ideas can be integrated into an overall organizational strategy for maximum impact? What's your take, Tiffani?
Thanks, Dr. Joe.
Sure.
In order to overcome resistance, I think it's important to find out why there's resistance in the first place. Like, why are the employees resistant against bettering themselves as a professional? So it's important to communicate why professional development is recommended, along with all of the benefits. How will it benefit them? Because a lot of time with the employees, it's what's in it for me. So explain that to them. What is in it for them? And as you clearly express the goals and how taking part of the development course or exercise will make a positive impact both short and long term, that will ease the resistance. And yes, they can be integrated into an overall organizational strategy for maximum impact. Dr. Joe, do you see any significant challenges that organizations face in creating a culture of continuous learning and development? And what are some of the biggest ones?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, Tiffani. I see a number of significant challenges. I guess if I had to narrow it down, I would say three challenges are pretty huge. Okay. First of all, resource constraints. Organizations often struggle with allocating sufficient time and resources. What are you talking about, money or other types of resources? You've hinted around to that, for their learning and development initiatives I'm talking about. According to a recent study by the Institute of Data, 42% of companies cite resource limitations as a barrier to fostering a learning culture, whether it's budget constraints, competing priorities, or lack of dedicated learning hours. Whatever it is, organization must, I say, simply must address this challenge to create a challenge where learning is indeed prioritized. Second challenge, resistance to change and, fear of failure. Okay, change can be daunting, especially when it involves learning new skills or adopting innovative practices. You know, employees might resist continuous learning due to the fear of failure. They're afraid they're going to fail, maybe being personally uncomfortable with change itself. A survey by Educate 360 found that 67% of employees hesitate to embrace new learning opportunities. And overcoming this resistance, especially if it's 2 out of every 3 here, requires leadership support, emphasizing psychological safety and celebrating learning as a growth opportunity rather than a risk. Last challenge, I'd have to say measuring impact, right? Organizations struggle to measure the effectiveness of learning initiatives. Without clear metrics, well, it's pretty challenging to demonstrate the value of continuous learning. A Tech Academy report highlights that 58% of learning and development professionals find it difficult to assess the impact of training programs. You see, implementing robust evaluation methods can help quantify those benefits and thereby justify whatever investments are needed in learning and development. So you know what? those those are pretty significant challenges, Tiffani. Now, what do you see are perhaps some different ways that organizations can implement to overcome these obstacles? What's your take?
Thanks, Dr. Joe. I really like the way that you laid out the challenges that organizations face in creating a culture of continuous learning and development. And resource constraints, they're a big one. I mean, some options for overcoming this challenge would be to explore if there are grants or other funding available to assist with covering the expenses. And resource constraints are also a barrier to adoption that we saw and that prevents businesses from incorporating new technology, because what we saw was the same pattern in the majority of the industries that we covered in our Industry Insights webinar series. And this trend contributed to a larger challenge known as the digital divide, which is the gap between people who can access and use digital technology and those who can't. And according to the IEEE, the digital divide is getting worse as 3.7 billion people across the globe still remain unconnected to the internet. That just seems so wild to me, because here in America, we use the internet all the time. It's like second nature for everything. I don't know if half the people watching would even be able to get to a location without using their GPS or their phone to assist them. I mean, people have just become so overly reliant on it that just not having that just seems out of this world. And when it comes to fear of failure, providing training and support can assist, as well as affirming the importance of upskilling and reskilling. But you're right, Dr. Joe, that the fear of change, I mean, we saw it when the pandemic hit, when people had to change from going to the office to working from home. And now we're seeing it kind of shift again as people have to change it up again, because now they're wanting them back in the office 5 days. They're like, not more change. It's this giant fear of change. So, I mean, that's something that, it comes with being adaptable. So make sure that that's a part of your learning and development strategy. And when it comes to measuring impact, I feel it's important to address the goals and ensure that they are measurable. And leveraging virtual learning and AI can also assist in gaining better data-driven insights. But as a leader, Dr. Joe, how can you inspire and motivate your team to embrace continuous learning and development? And what strategies can you employ to create a culture where learning is valued and prioritized?
Sure. Well, thank you, Tiffani. Your wisdom in this area is spectacular. I just love the way you put that. So thank you, and thank you for the question. These things need to be prioritized. Okay, one strategy that I have found to be successful is to recognize the difference between adhesion and cohesion when it comes to putting a high priority on learning and professional development while you are building your teams. Now, Tiffani, let me set the stage for you real quickly. All right, you may recall from your own high school chemistry classes, which was a lot longer ago for me than perhaps it was for you, right? Okay, the force of attraction between molecules of different substances is called adhesion, as distinct from cohesion, and that's the force between molecules of the same substance. Okay, let me illustrate. It's the adhesion of water that makes it bead and stick to the hood of the car that's just been waxed. But it's the cohesion of water that makes it stick to itself and fall as drops when it rains. So, guess what? It's the same way with people. Now, think about it. When those who have differing personalities are paired up, right? When the teaching, coaching, or mentoring process is done correctly, okay, their relative strengths and weaknesses are going to complement in each other. And their adhesion is going to take them to new heights of success. All right, flip that puppy around. In the similar way, pairing like personalities together, okay, that's going to build a sense of camaraderie and sympathy. People are saying, well, you know what? I've been there, man. I know what you're going through, and we can get through it together. So their likeness, their similarity, their cohesion, if you will, helps them to tackle differences and break through barriers very quickly. So by understanding the power of adhesion and cohesion together, and understanding when to use each one, right? And maybe even both in certain cases, leaders can strategically pair up individuals in teams, creating a collaborative environment where everybody feels valued and empowered. You know what, Tiffani? My whole point in writing this book, The Madness Behind the Method, okay, it's to challenge organizations with a message that it's time to break free from the shackles of traditional training methods and embrace the madness that's going to lead them to true transformation within their workforce engagement strategy. I think we all need to remember this. The most effective learning experiences are not just about imparting knowledge, folks. Anybody can do that. No. They're about igniting passion, encouraging collaboration, and creating this sense of belonging. So, guess what, everybody? All of you who are watching us out there today, go. Go forth, unleash that madness within your own organizations. And please start looking at your employees as an asset to be invested in rather than a cost to be justified. You know, as Henry Ford once put it, the only thing worse than training your employees and having them leave is not training them and having them stay. Yeah, on that note, back to you, Tiffani.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Joe. And I really feel that the more we challenge ourselves, the more we give ourselves an opportunity to grow. I know when I started my first real role in the technology sector, working as communications director at GeoTrack, I really didn't know much about IoT. It was very overwhelming, and it was so much training and development and getting on the phone and understanding all these new processes and how things work. And it was very, very challenging. But, I use it as an opportunity to grow, and now to be,
Right.
hosting these summits and being able to talk at a high level and really understand exactly, what's happening with the entire technology landscape. It's a blessing. So the more that you challenge yourself, the more you can grow, and the more that you can, be a leader and help others. So definitely take any opportunity that you have for professional development. It'll be a wise choice. And if you're an employer, make sure that you're taking that step for your employees. So thank you
Absolutely.
so much for joining me today, Dr. Joe. And of course, a big thank you to all of you for joining us as well. And if you're looking to upskill, reskill, learn some new things, especially about technology, be sure to join us for the Summit of Things, taking place October 22nd to the 24th. And there's even free early bird passes online. So, hey, that's one of the barriers gone. You know, we talked about the cost for, doing the professional development. Here's a free pass. So get yours now at iotkatg.com. Thank you again, Dr. Joe. And we look forward to seeing you next time on another Mind to Mind. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.